Hey guys, how you doing? Welcome to our first design tutorial on this channel. If you are watching this way in the future, we're thinking 1 or 2 years in the future, it's pretty awesome. This is where it all started. And if you are watching this in the past, that is some spooky shit. So today's tutorial is going to be fairly straightforward. We're just going to be creating a toggle button. Fairly straightforward. We'll be using Sketch to do this. With that said, let's take a look and see exactly how we're going to do that. Excellent. So this is what we're looking at right now. Two very simple switches. Let me zoom in here. We're using only three colors here. We're using a plain white, we're using a bluish grayish type of color, and a really nice sky blue. I have the hexadecimals on this side, and if you're interested, these values would also be in a description down below. You can have a quick read through them. So there's really nothing to this, so let's go ahead and get started. Start off by creating an artboard. Press A on the keyboard. And I'm just going to drag and drop until it's around about the same size. Let's make this 160 by 160. Beauty. I'm just going to space them out so they're not too close to each other. And I'm going to zoom in here. So let's start with the background first. We need to create an oval shape. So, well, not really an oval shape, but more like a rounded rectangle. And for this, you're going for a ratio of 2 by 1. So you want to do 100 by 50. So your width should be double your height. And that will look the most pleasing and aesthetic, I believe. One thing that I'm going to do, go ahead and get rid of the border. Make sure it's selected and crank up the border radius as far as we can. And now we have nice, smooth, rounded corners that give it that sort of oval shape, but not quite oval, just rectangle, oval. And if oval and rectangle had a baby, that would be a pretty baby. So. Position it up here. Next element that we want to create is a little switch that goes up inside here. So I'm going to press O on the keyboard, hold down Shift on my keyboard, and this will lock the width and the height, and just drag. And for this, let's go ahead and change the color so we can see what we're dealing with. And as always, get rid of the border. So in this case, I want it to be slightly smaller than the height of the background rectangle. So in order to do that, we have a width of 50, and I want to space it 5 pixels from the top and 5 pixels from the bottom and 5 pixels from the left. So that means the width and the height of our oval needs to be 40. I'm going to drag all the way to the side until we see that guideline coming into action. And with the right arrow key, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm holding down Option on my keyboard and I'm hovering over the background. And you can see how it's 5 pixels from the top, 5 pixels from the left, and 5 pixels from the bottom. Perfect. Just going to go ahead and cheat a little bit. Just grab these colors and put them here. So we can just use the color picker and pick on them. So our knob is always going to be a pure white. This is the background color for the inactive state of the switch, and this is the background color for the active state of the switch. So I'm going to Command C to copy the hexadecimal, click on our background layer, and paste here, press enter. So right now it's looking a little bit flat, maybe a little bit dead. What I'd like to do to give it a little bit of life add a little bit of a shadow here, and doesn't need to be anything drastic or dramatic, just something very, very light. So I'm going to leave it at pure black, but I'm going to bring our alpha or our transparency down to right about 10%, so you can barely see it. So if I zoom in here, like really zoom in, and I toggle it on and off, you can see that it does make a difference. But if you're just looking at it, it doesn't really make a difference to your eye, but I believe that it will make a difference to your experience, and that's always far more important. So this is our active toggle, and I'm going to call this background. I'm going to call this knob. I'm going to shift, select, and I'm going to group these two together and name this active. So with this selected, I'll do Command D and name this inactive, and drag a copy and place it right below. Now I'm going to double click, grab the knob and push it all the way to the right until we see it snap to the grid. And then with the left arrow key, we go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And again, with Option held down, we hover over the background, 5 pixels from the top, 5 from the bottom, and 5 from the right. We select the background and change the background color to the nice bluish grayish color that we had. I'm going to group both of these together, and I'm going to center them in the artboard. And really, guys, that's all there is to it. I have created a little sort of mock-up design for these knobs and how I see them being used. So let's go ahead and switch to page number 2. This is where the magic happens. So this is typically the sort of environment that you see toggles and knobs being used, notifications, maybe keep me logged in, turning lights on and off on the phone. And the beauty of these knobs and this color scheme is that with a little bit of modification, we can change it so that it works in dark mode as well. So I have changed the colors just a little bit to take the intensity away from the text, because if this was just a pure white, I think it would be a bit too harsh on the eyes. The contrast would be a little bit too much. And also the blue, if you notice, I will put them side by side. So I have changed the color a little bit. I believe it's still pleasing to the eye, but if you're lying down in bed and you're playing on your phone, this will not glare you. This wouldn't bother your eyes as much. So that's the first segment of this video. We have gone ahead and we have created the little switch or toggle buttons. Next step is going to be coding this up in HTML and CSS. And let me give you a look at what that looks like. So this is what we're looking at right now. It's fairly straightforward. Again, same thing that we have here. We have our off state and we have our on state. Wait, did I get the directions wrong? I think I did. Sorry, guys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Beautiful. Now they match up. And we can go ahead and turn the switch on and off. I know this looks really, really simple and silly, but there's a lot of considerations that go into creating that single button. We want them to see how the button gets from point A to point B, and if that happens in a fraction of a second without any animation, the users may just find themselves a little bit lost. And all of this was done purely in HTML and CSS. So this is just using CSS transitions and selectors to accomplish this. There's absolutely no JavaScript involved, and I will share this video with you in the next tutorial. I do hope that you enjoyed this video. If you enjoyed it, you can really help me out by pressing the like button underneath. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me in the comments. I am making it a point to reply to every single comment. And that's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I had a lot of fun creating this, and I hope that you would have just as much fun recreating it and learning by yourself as you experiment with different shapes and different colors. So come and join me in the next video where I will share with you how to create these switches in an actual HTML file that you can interact with. So it's a living and breathing button. It won't be living or breathing just yet, but it will be a button on a web page. Thank you, and I will see you in the next video.